Welcome back to the show, everybody. IGN Live from Comic-Con, presented by the all-new LG G4. I'm Damon, this is Roth, and it's time to talk about a new show coming to NBC this fall called The Player. It stars Wesley Snipes and Philip Winchester.
Hey. Very exciting.
This show, I saw the pilot, and it is so much fun. So I don't know how much we want to say about the premise. So the premise is essentially there is this very elaborate, high-stakes game.
That's right.
Yeah.
Can you talk a little bit about the roles that each of you play in these elaborate games?
Well, we should finish. It's a high-stakes game being created by a virtual gambling house.
Yes.
That is controlled by a cabal of internationally uber-wealthy people, individuals.
Well, that's what high-stakes games are controlled by, as far as I know.
Yes. Oh, you're talking politics.
No.
Not on IGN.
Not on IGN, which stands for
the
International
Gambling Network, which is that's what it stands
Which-
for now.
which-
IGN is going to be in the show, and it's going to say that. Yeah.
tying into the show. There's some really good you obviously have been on a very notable action series,
Right.
Strike Back. You are a martial artist. Both of these things come together. Talk a little bit about how sort of the action on this series weighs up against Strike Back. Are we going to see you get to fight a little bit more? I think I just spoiled that we do a little bit in the pilot.
Well, our goal is to have very dramatic action, dynamic action, and some big action, the kind of action that you would normally see on a feature film. And then we bring it to every week to the small screen. That's the goal.
Yeah, that is the goal.
And
I
he's
feel
pretty athletic. I've been known to do a couple of things
Yeah,
here and
you
there.
have, haven't you? A few things in the past.
Between the two of us and the other characters, it should be action-packed. But not just action. We're going to have great characters, great plot twists, great structure to the show that will engage those who are not particularly action fans as well.
it's sort of set up a little bit to kind of have and I don't know how much we want to say, but it's set up to sort of have a case of the week element to it. But then there's a big overarching mystery that's set up in that pilot. What do you think that the balance between have you shot beyond the pilot yet?
Well, no, we just did the pilot, and talking with John Rogers, the guy who wrote the pilot and is doing the show running on the show. He wants this thing to be a show that you can plug into once a week and get an absolute, feast from. 45 minutes of action that matters, good drama, and things like that. But if you pay attention to every episode, you're going to pick up the breadcrumbs and kind of get your, you'll get your clues ticked off, and you go, oh, that's what we want. I'm going to put that in for later. I'm going to put that in my bag for later. So it's a show that you get rewarded for watching constantly because there will be hidden things in it. But and like Wesley was saying earlier, the action's got to, it can't just be mindless action. It can't be robots punching robots. I mean, this stuff has to matter. So the drama has to be there in the writing, and that the relationship has to be there with all the lead characters. And they've done that in this. We've been really fortunate with that. The writing's really strong.
Your character has these very particular mannerisms, so it almost makes me think that it's kind of a mask, you know what I mean? Because then at another point, he almost plays a character within a character. You play a character within a character. Are we going to see more of that? Like, is he going to kind of have different...
Actually, he's going to be a character within a character within a character.
Acting.
Which is 3 characters.
A total of 3.
That's the studio approach to television, is what our plan is. Yes.
I have to ask you, but we're here at Comic-Con, so I read earlier today that you said that you had had some conversations with Marvel about Blade and possibly bringing that character back to life.
Fast.
That happened so
That was literally as we were walking over here.
Literally, it was, you were there and I was here and I read it.
We are living in the future.
Well,
now I'm asking you about
I can break the story right now.
Here it is.
Great.
You're ready?
Live,
I can break it right now. Marvel and I, Wesley Snipes, have decided to have further conversations about doing another Blade movie.
Are you having further conversations?
It's a topic of conversation. It's unescapable.
Yeah.
But they have their agenda and we have ours, and we're both moving in an accelerated pace to create magic. So we'll see if it all matches up. There's a strong possibility, but if not, we have another project that's going to rock them.
What's
It's going to
that?
stand toe-to-toe to Blade. You know.
You know, it's interesting. Are there any other characters that you would like to play that are comic book characters that you'd like to tell me
That's
about?
good.
Yes, there are, but we're gonna leave that until we have our next IGN meeting.
You know,
We'll talk about that a little later.
speaking of other characters that you played, we actually have a question from one of our viewers on Twitter. If we can bring that up.
Hey,
IGN
look at
super
this.
fan Brian
How you doing,
Altano
Brian?
asks, please ask Wesley Snipes to make Demolition Man 2. It can be in the future or in dinosaur times. Please put this on your show. Big fan.
Yo, but I would do Demolition Man 2, but all of the guys in the football game, they took my hairdo. So between football and sports, man, you know, my whole head, the whole blonde hairdo thing is
It
kind
was
of
pretty
played
awesome.
out.
Just
It's
like
not new
the
anymore,
room
you know?
before this, we were in the Samsung room.
Yeah.
And they have the Oculus Ridge kind of like looking device that you put on, and Wesley was in this like virtual
yeah.
reality rig.
Yeah.
It was straight out of Demolition Man. So it's funny that Brian just wrote that question.
Yeah. We're going to make
Dude,
that
that's
blonde,
so
too.
random.
You know, have a blonde
Demolition
mohawk
Man
on my
2.
Oculus glasses.
So good.
That
That's
is
what I'm talking
amazing.
about.
Talk a little bit about working. Are you excited about sort of playing a character over a long period of time in television? You've been on television, obviously, but you've not been in network television where it's 22
I'm very
episodes.
excited about it. You know, it gives
Now
you
that
a
you're going to play
chance
3
to-
characters.
Well, yeah, and more, and more. But it gives you a chance to really stretch and test and flex your muscles as an actor. And you got to have your technique down. You got to make characters that are believable, and you got to create them quickly and turn around quickly. So it's like repertory theater again, you know.
Yeah.
And I'm looking forward to that.
How about Strike Back? Obviously, this is its final season. Did you guys feel as a team an extra pressure to kind of like, I don't know how you up the ante. I don't. Have you seen it?
I have.
We started the season in Bangkok, which upped the ante just because of the heat and the locations, and Bangkok became this other character in the show. And it was, it was our final season. We had an injury in the cast that prevented us from finishing the season right away. So we came back 6 months later, and I think in those 6 months they were able to really hone the scripts and get them to a place they wanted. And I literally think they got to this point they were like, well, fuck it, let's throw everything we can at it. And that's what happened at the end of Strike Back. I mean, we ended up in season, episodes 9 and 10. It is just something. It's kind of the reward for the audience for sticking with us for 4 years. We wanted to give them everything back in the relationship with Scott and Stonebridge, and the action, the drama, everything that we wanted to get in there, we got in there. So we're happy with it.
There's so much possibility on television these days. This is a very high concept series, obviously. I'm going to bring it back one more time to
Right.
Daredevil was a big success on Netflix. Blade is a thing that people think would work really well on Netflix. Do you think that would work really well on Netflix? Look at her dig for it.
You mean Blade on Netflix without Wesley?
No, with Wesley.
It'll never work.
With Wesley. I mean, you're open to television now.
I can't see that working at all.
Me neither. I don't know.
Can you?
I don't know what they're talking about, Weslly.
Definitely, if they put it on after the player, it's a wrap.
That does. That we are about out of time, gentlemen. But I do want to point out. I don't know if you noticed this, Wesley. We have matched our entire set to your shirt. I don't know if you can.
Holla
see
at
this
your
in
boy.
Yeah, there you go. Need that for you.
Holla.
The Player is coming to NBC this fall.
It is.
Yes.
Yeah.
It
Thursday
is.
nights.
I've
September
seen
24th.
the pilot. We talked about it. It really is fun. I've been a little hesitant to say too much about it because there's some mysteries to dig
Yeah.
into, even about who you guys are playing in the Player. Like the Player.
It's true. Yeah. It's that's I think John's wish was kind of it was answered in kind of the construction of the pilot. It works on a lot of levels, and I think the audience can sit down and go, okay, this is what we're in for. Well, let's go. Let's do it.
And I think the show will be engaging. You, as the audience, will be able to sit there and try to figure it out,
Right.
and you won't see the twists and the turns, and that is interactive and kind of fun for a fan, you know.
Gentlemen, thank you so much
Hey,
for coming
thanks
by
a
the
lot
show.
for having
I
us.
think there's
We gotta
some
go? You
sushi
kick
in
us
your
out?
near future. I think.
Yes, there's some
crumbling.
Nobu happening.
The Player on NBC this fall.
IGN, I get no more.
Stay tuned. We still have more to come from Comic-Con here live at IGN.
IGN ingesting.
Delicious.
IGN Live at Comic-Con is presented by the all-new LG G4. See the great, feel the great. And Marvel's Ant-Man, in theaters July 17th.